Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me. Unfortunately, I forgot that this Thursday was the 4th of July, so I am not going to be on live tonight. However, I have started the Christmas in July video series on my channel. I'm kicking that off tonight. I know, kind of crazy, huh? Like America's birthday, Jesus's birthday. It's about birthdays, kind of. Okay, we're gonna go with that. Anyway, I certainly hope you enjoy the video. I am so sorry that I did not mention that I wasn't going to be on. I forgot that, yeah, today's the 4th of July. Totally spaced it. So I apologize for that. I will be back next Thursday at 7 o'clock, and we will be hopping into something else, something that I had planned for tonight. It won't be Christmas in July. It'll be something different. Or maybe it will. No, it won't. No, it won't. I don't know. Now I might change it. Who knows? Okay. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I hope you have a happy and safe and wonderful 4th of July. Until next time, happy crafting, and I hope you enjoy the new series, Christmas in July. Hello everyone, I'm Beth Golden. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am doing a Christmas in July series, so I'm super excited. The one thing that's going to set this series apart from some of the other things you might be seeing on YouTube regarding Christmas is I am using stuff strictly from my stash and things that you can easily find if you don't have them at your local craft store or your big box shops like Joann's, Hobby Lobby, or Michael's. So it is a risk because I'm not going to be providing for you a supply list per se. I will provide for you my affiliated links, but other than that, I want you to be able to take whatever we're doing and be able to just turn around and start to make your Christmas cards right now. Right now, the time that I'm filming, the end of June, beginning of July, this will be released somewhere in the first or second week, probably the second week or third week of July. There's the new Christmas stuff just isn't out yet. So that's part of the reason why I'm doing it using the stash, but also I'm very passionate about using what is in your craft room. And I think that we as crafters just need to do that. It is a risk for me because I'm depending on you guys to share this video, to comment, to like on it, so I can keep doing videos in which, you don't necessarily have to go out and buy anything. And you can easily substitute anything I'm using, even the image, with something in your stash. So today, I want to do a twist on the traditional Christmas card with a traditional image, which is this image. This is an old stamp I've had probably at least a decade, I think closer to 15 years, and it is of the baby Jesus. I'm going to start it off with this. I'm going to do a little bit of a twist on it, and I'm going to do very natural, traditional type card, but I'm going to use lots of texture with natural type material. First thing I'm going to do is I need to take this piece of cardboard that I have. It's a corrugated piece of cardboard. You can get this off of a box or anything that you have, and I'm going to dry brush it with some gold glue, glue. Yes, that's it. Some gold paint, metallic paint that I've had in my stash for some time. And what I mean by dry brush is I'm just going to take my brush, pick up a little and brush it off so it has very little color on. In a technique like this, I just want to pick up those ridges. It's always easier to add more than it is to take away. So as you can tell, I definitely need to add a little bit more. And I'm doing this first so that it can set up as we put our cards together. My hope when this is all said and done is that I have some beautiful cards that I can actually get pre-labeled and mailed out right at the beginning of December. And every crafter I know, we don't want to admit it, but we are all sitting here thinking about our Christmas cards right now. So that's why I've decided to do this series in July. All right, so this has been painted. It's very subtle. I'm going to just set this off to the side, take and just rinse this down real quick, and then we'll put our card together. I am using natural type textures on this card, and so I'm going to be stamping on a piece of raw canvas. If you don't have raw canvas, think about your like craft paper or a brown paper. You can always substitute out anything I'm doing with a brown or neutral paper. Totally fine. You're going to notice that I'm going to be using a ton of layers, and you don't have to use that many layers if you don't want to. So just think about what you have in your stash and what would work for you. I'm using a StazOn ink in red, and since everything on this is so neutral, I really wanted this image to pop, and I just thought that the red would be a subtle nod to our traditional Christmas, and it also will make the baby Jesus stand out. So there's the baby Jesus, and look, really, really subtle, super just simple image. And from here, I'm going to take my Vintage Photo Distress ink, and I'm going to kind of ink the edges. Before I do that, I am going to pull off just some of these fibers just to give it a more rough type look. Kind of, it's not rough, I actually want to more like soften it a little bit. So this is looking good. So from here, I'm just going to take my Vintage Photo and just go around the edges like so. Now I'm using Distress ink on purpose, and that's because Distress ink moves whenever it meets any kind of moisture, okay? And I want it to be able to move with what I'm going to do at the end, and you'll see why. So, and also I didn't want necessarily my image to move, so I used the StazOn ink because that will not move. So I'm just kind of roughing it up a little bit around the baby Jesus, like so. I love how that looks so far. Isn't that cute? All right, so I'm just going to take my chamois and just clean up my workspace and set my little stamp off to the side. And now let's go ahead and start to just assemble this card. I've already gone ahead and created a card base. To create a card base, you can simply take a typical 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, cut it down the half, and you will be left with a perfect card base, which is going to give you an A2, which is 5.5 by 4 2/4. So this side, the long way, is 8.5, and then when we fold it, it'll be 4.25, and then this edge is 5.5. You always want to assemble your card open because the crease, when you close it, it creates a bounce and you can't get really good placement. I'm going to be using mixed media glue because the type of paper that I'm using. However, really any kind of paper will do. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually take this cork that I have in my stash from forever and just lay this down first. What I did was my base on this, what is 4.25 by 5.5. That is my my card front. And so I just cut this down to 4 by 5.25. And as you can see, it's frayed along the edges, which I absolutely love. And then the next sheets of paper I actually found in my clearance section about 2 years ago by EK Tools. It's a natural texture sheet. Found this at Joann's. I believe it was on clearance. So I'm going to use one each of these sheets. So this one, again, I cut the size down even more so this is a mat to it. And I believe it is 3.75 by 5 inches for this next layer. And again, if this is too many layers for your liking when we're all said and done, then just cut the layers out. Make it your own, okay? I'm just showing you a way that you can create a beautiful, neutral, texture-rich type card. Okay, and then the next layer is going to be this one. And again, I cut it down by another 1/4 inch on each side. I think that this is let's see, this one was 4.25, this is 4, this is 3.75 by, This is 5.255. No, that's not right. I'm going to have to put the measurements for you in the description box. But if you go ahead and just do basic math in your head and just keep reducing your sizes by 0.25 this way and this side on your cut, you can't go wrong. All right. And so then the last one that I'm going to put down is going to be this sheet. So see how beautiful in texture it is. It's already nice and rich in texture. So I may not be doing my typical whimsical bright color that I absolutely love, but whenever you're working with such neutral colors and a classic traditional type image, you really want to find one area to amp it up. And for that, it's definitely going to be the texture. The texture of this is just off the charts. Okay, so I'm done layering so far with my matte images. So my card base, I'll go back and we'll go through it, is 4.25 by 5.5. This is 4 by 5.25. This is 3.75 by 5. This is 3.5 by 4.75. This is 3.25 by 4.5. So there you go. I can't believe I just did that off the top of my head. Now I'm going to go ahead and start to layer on my baby Jesus. And I just want this piece of cardboard, corrugated cardboard, to kind of be off to the side because I want to make my baby Jesus pop. And since it is on raw canvas, I can't necessarily use pop dots on the image because it's so soft that there's a chance it could really just, you know, it won't go on straight, it won't go on flat. It can buckle in areas. You might be able to see the pop dots through. So I'm going to be using this corrugated cardboard to pop my baby Jesus. So I'm going to put this here, but before I do, I'm going to lay this piece that's going to go behind to give that same, because if I do it just like this, you know what's going to happen. This is going to go down and there's going to be a bump there, and I don't want a bump. So I'm going to lay this piece out, and I'm actually going to lay it down upside down. So I did that backwards. So I want to lay this piece down first, where I'm going to put my image, which will be about right there. And then I'm just going to take my baby Jesus and lay him on top like so. And again, you could do any image you want. If you wanted a pine tree, a present, a saying, totally work with this. My whole focus on this is just showcasing your stash and how to add texture. So it looks like we're almost done. Super cute. That gold does elevate it a little bit. I love to mix what's called high-low fashion. Low fashion being, you know, the natural type texture, high being the gold, so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm just going to take this glimmer mist, and this is just going to be the end. This is how I'm going to end this. And I'm going to mist this down. And this is woven burlap. It is a newer color out. I'm sure they have more colors out now because the owners have changed hands. I do have mixing balls in this. I do keep it on its side and I give it a nice shake before I always spray it. And by doing so, it doesn't allow my knob to clog, or I don't have a greater chance of it clogging. Remember how I said I wanted this to move on the edge and I wanted baby Jesus to not move? This is why, because I am layering down some mist. So I'm just going to mist like that, and I'm good. That's it. We're good to go. And from here, I can go ahead and fold over my card. I want to kind of wipe that up first so that I don't get, there we go. All right, so I'm going to fold over my card. And then on the inside is where I'm going to do the sentiment. I was going to do a Come Let Him Adore It on the outside, but there just really wasn't any room for it. So I'm just going to do it like this. So it's a beautiful, subtle, but highly textured card. All right, so I want to encourage you to go look in your stash today and pull out a Christmas stamp or a Christmas die cut or a Christmas embellishment that you have. Use that as your centerpiece. I use the stamp image. Find a neutral palette and add some texture to it. If you only have a white cardboard like this per se, you can go ahead, take that cardboard out and paint it. Paint the whole thing gold. And there you have a neutral or brown or something, or ink it or mist it or something. I just want you to really play with this. Then when you're done, if you could post that on your Instagram account and tag me in it at Bets Golden so I can see it. I would love to see it. And I also would love to follow you on Instagram if I'm not doing so already. So make sure that you go ahead and do that. I want to see what you guys create. Please share this video. Leave a comment on it if you enjoyed this. Let me know what you're going to do, how you're going to replicate this in your craft room. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And if you haven't subscribed, I certainly hope you consider doing so. Until next time, happy crafting.